Today I'm going to talk about how CPQ handles percent of total products, and it's actually one of its more powerful features. So a lot of companies sell products that are priced as a percent of total, meaning you have a deal that's $100,000 worth of product, and the company sells an additional product, maybe it's software maintenance, something like that, that is priced at, hey, its price should be 20% of the total of this deal, 20% on top. And so CPQ has a pricing method called percent of total that lets you set this up pretty easily. So as you can see here on my screen, we're already looking at a product that I've set up to behave this way. So I'm going to click edit so we can see some of the fields here and manipulate them. You initially set this up similar to any other product, give it a product name, product code, etc. But you set its pricing method to percent of total. Typically, when you create a product for the first time, it's going to set its pricing method to list. You'll want to change that or update this on creation to be percent of total. And for this to work, there's a couple other fields that you're going to have to configure. The first one is you have a percent of total field down here where you're setting, hey, for this specific product, I want its price to automatically be calculated at 20% of the total of the other products. Now, when I say other products, right, that's pretty generic. What are those other products that are included, and what happens if I only want to have some of those products and their pricing contributing to my percent of total calculation? So it's important to know that out of the box, if you don't configure anything on this product, you just set it up as a percent of total product. What CPQ is going to do is calculate this percent of total based off of the totals of any other products on the same quote that are not subscription products, essentially that don't have a defined subscription term, that are just a one-time fee. That's how it works out of the box. However, there are a couple fields that you could take advantage of to change this. So you'll notice if I scroll up here to this pricing section, there's a include in percent of total field. Now, it doesn't really make sense to check the box here on this percent of total product, but if I jumped over to another product that was a subscription product, for example, and I wanted to include its price in my percent of total calculation, I could just check the box on that product. And then even though it's a subscription and not a one-time fee product, CPQ is going to include it in that calculation. You could also exclude one-time fee products if you want to. So I just jumped over here to a one-time fee license. I could go down, I can edit this product, scroll down and say, yeah, it's one-time fee, but in this case, it doesn't make sense for our business to include it in any percent of total calculations. You can even do some more powerful grouping, right? Instead of just having to check boxes on all the right products that you want to include or exclude, you can also define percent of total categories. Out of the box, there's two, hardware and software. You can add values to this pick list to define any categories that you want to. And the way this field works, it's a little bit tricky, I think, at first to understand, because you have to set its value on both the percent of total product that you're configuring and any products that you want to be included in your percent of total calculation. So for example, if I sent this percent of total category on my percent of total product to hardware, then I could go to any other product in Salesforce and also set its percent of total category to hardware. And then CPQ will essentially link the two and use the prices calculated on any non-percent of total product where you've given it this category of hardware to calculate your percent of total price, because I've also set this product to hardware. So just an important thing to keep in mind there, you'll need to set this value on both the percent of total product that you're configuring and the products whose prices you want to include in a grouping to calculate your percent of total. I'm going to back that out though, because we don't actually want to do this for this example. So those are some ways in which you can control what products are targeted. You can also get even more specific and target a single product in a percent of total calculation. So you can see this is a lookup field to a product. I could say I'm just targeting, this product here as an example. And then finally, there's another field called percent of total base. So by default, that's set to list. I've been talking about, just generically saying, price is included in your percent of total calculation, but this lets you target what price. Am I just looking at the list price of the products where CPQ is doing this calculation? Do I want to use the regular or customer prices, which so then I can have some discounts applied? Or do I even want to use the net price? Meaning, for example, if I'm targeting a subscription product, that's going to take the term of my contract into account, any discounts that are applied, and the quantity. And I'm going to use that price that's calculated to then calculate my percent of total price. List, it's just going to grab what's in the price book entry on any products that this percent of total product is targeting. Typically, in most scenarios where I've configured this product for clients, most of the time they want to include the net price, especially if you have subscriptions being included in your percent of total, because then you're getting that net total for that product that you're selling across the term of your contract, and not just its list price, which really isn't the full price when we're talking about a subscription product. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like here. So I have my maintenance percent of total product. I've defined its percent of total. We'll just leave its percent of total category blank for right now. I'm going to be targeting the net price. We'll click save, and then I have this one-time license product here, which I want to make sure it is not excluded from percent of total. And since this is not a subscription product, by default, it will be included. So I don't need to check this box here. Could if I wanted to, but it's not necessary. So let's go ahead and add both of these products to the quote and see what happens here. So I'm already on a quote. I'll click edit lines, add these two products, and we'll see how CPQ calculates that percent of total. You can see its net total is being calculated as 1,875, which is 20% of 9,375. And I'm going to do this math really quickly here, just to be sure. So times 0.2 is 1,875. So, for example, what happens if I up the quantity here, which would increase my net total? And remember, this maintenance product, we're targeting the net total and not the list total. If we were targeting the list total, then me changing the quantity shouldn't affect things. So let's change the quantity to 2, and you can see the net total went up to 18,750, and automatically, in real time, without me having to do any math, the percent of total product increased to $3,750, which would be 20% of this net total. So that is a quick introduction into how percent of total products and pricing works in Salesforce CPQ.